If you came across someone who needed a blood transfusion, would you let them live or would you let them die? How does this relate to your story? Let's talk about it. Hey, y'all, are you ready? Can you smell it? Can you smell it? Okay. I won't do that. Besides, Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, might sue me. Anyway, I can smell it. It's the smell of excitement. Yeah, I'm excited to be hanging with you again. I'm excited. We're 8 episodes in, and I'm excited I get to share with you in this way. Life ain't perfect, but it's exciting. What are you excited about? I want to know. Shoot me a line at podcast@robertkennedy3.com. That's podcast@robertkennedy3.com. Share what you're excited about today with me, and I'll send you a free gift. That's right, a free gift for every person who sends me an email telling me what they're excited about at podcast@robertkennedy3.com. So go ahead and do it. Do it now. Quick question. Did you listen to the last episode where Heather Havenwood shows how you can own your brand? It was crazy powerful, and I want to encourage you to go back and listen to it. Go check out episode 7 of the RK3 show, because I can guarantee you that you will be blessed, like in church. Hallelujah. My child, you have been blessed. Are y'all having fun with me yet? Listen, I received a question and I quickly want to answer it. If you have a question, again, make sure you send it to me at podcast@robertkennedy3.com. Anyway, here's today's question. How can I motivate my friends to accomplish their goals? Wow, how can I motivate my friends to accomplish their goals? Well, here's my answer. This is not a communication question, but it's an important one. I have this friend. His name is Sean. He's a fitness junkie. He's a trainer, and he has a fitness company. Sean is buff, and every time I see him, he tries to break my hand while he's shaking it. Because of Sean, I'm motivated to work out. I want to be healthy. He posts these videos on Facebook, which are hilarious, and it always makes me think about my health. Now, here's the thing. Sean never, ever says to me, bro, you need to work out, or I empower you to work out. Sean simply lives. I have another friend. His name is Bob. Bob's a multimillionaire. And every time I see Bob, he stops and he smiles and he says, what's going on, bro? I'm like, where you headed, Bob? He says, oh, I'll be in Brazil next week. And I say, business or pleasure? And he says, it's always some of both. Bob's business is successful, and he smiles. And Bob never says to me, dude, you need to do this to have a better business or to live like me. Well, unless I specifically ask. But he motivates me every time because Bob simply lives. There's this other friend I have. Her name is Ann. She owns a construction company and she's super successful, but she doesn't walk around all blinged out. She's got great personal style, but she's not showy. She gets online and she shares these small statements weekly. She does these Facebook Live videos from some of the meetings that she goes to with the city and events that she attends. And she shares little tidbits of knowledge with whoever she meets. She's amazing and she's wise, but Ann never says, Robert, I want to motivate you to reach this goal. She shares specific information if I ask, but otherwise, Ann simply lives. Now, if you haven't gotten it yet, here's the answer. Get excited yourself about something and then simply live it. It's hard to motivate other people if you're not already motivated yourself, okay? It's challenging to encourage someone if you're having trouble finding courage yourself. It's doggone near impossible to inspire someone if you're not already inspired yourself. So get excited, get inspired, and live. That's how you can motivate others. Was that helpful to you? I pray it was. If you have other questions, send your other questions about communication, motivation, and leadership to me at podcast@robertkennedy3.com. Have I said that email enough today? I feel like I've said it quite a few times, but I want to hear from you. That's it. I want to hear from you. So send me an email if you have any questions at podcast@robertkennedy3.com. All right, here we go. Let's get into it with my guest today. Altovise Pelzer is a survivor of abuse, molestation, and what could have been a very tragic story. But she's chosen to use her story to help others find their voice. Altovise has a story. Let's tell it. Ms. Altovise Pelzer, and she is the host of Our Voice Matters on WOW TV, morning press series on Periscope, and has become a published author. She is a speaker, and I see her all over the place on Facebook and Periscope, and she's working it. She's doing the doggone thing. Altovise, what's happening?
Hey, Robert! How are you doing today?
And I am doggone fabulous. That's how I am. How are you?
I am doing great.
Good. Listen, I want to let everybody know, first of all, that we're going to share crazy value today. We want to go through some questions. You're a speaker and you've been doing some amazing things in the industry, and you've not only been doing them for yourself, you've been working with other people to help lift them up as well and help them level up their businesses, understand the options, the opportunities, and the places that they can go in the speaking industry as well. So first of all, kudos to you for lifting others up. Secondly, kudos for the successes that you've had so far in the industry.
Oh, well, thank you. I made it a point that in 2017, at the beginning of the year, when everybody was doing their vision boards and their SMART goals, I said, this year I am going to dominate, don't compete.
Wow.
And I was going to show up with the best version of myself and help others to do the same. So it was all about stop wasting time, energy, and money and really get it to the heart of the matter. What is it I need to do to be successful?
Awesome. So if anybody is friends with you or they see what you're up to, they see you in front of these groups all the time. You're speaking to women, you're speaking to groups of 10, you're speaking to groups of 50. It doesn't matter. You're just like, I'm going to speak. And so what made you believe, first of all, that you had something to say to the world?
So for me, it was difficult because although I love encouraging people and supporting people, I'm an introvert. So I'm comfortable with being in the corner with my book or on a beach, and I'm good.
Yeah.
So it was, after going through my things that I've gone through in the past with, overcoming homelessness and being a victor over molestation, you kind of get to a point where you're like, you see other people going through the same things you have overcome. And it's either, am I going to sit around and watch or am I going to do something? And I always put it in the way of, what you have to offer is a blood donation. Somebody needs a blood transfusion. Will you let them live or die?
Wow. So tell me a little bit about this. You said that you've gone through homelessness, you've gone through molestation and a few different things. There are people that are in circumstances currently, and a lot of people feel like they can't talk or they can't speak about their stories because they haven't yet overcome it. They're in the middle of it. What do you have to say to people like that?
So the funniest thing is, because I always get that question from my clients as well. They feel as though they're still in the midst of healing. They're still in the midst of the situation. They haven't really truly, moved forward from it. And what I tell people is, though, even if you're in the midst of the storm, there's somebody the storm is about to happen. And so what you learned from the beginning of your storm, you could be teaching somebody else before they even go into the storm. Like, we still have something that we can offer. No, we don't have to be at this level of I've made it. I'm a gazillionaire and I got the cars and the house. And no, we don't have to be at that level. We have to be at the level of having a heart where we say, I want to make sure that other people succeed.
Yeah.
And a plan, and putting that plan into action. And so it's not so much that you have to be, so far away from, the situation and what happened, but you have to say, what was it that I learned from it? And what can I teach somebody else?
That is awesome. So let's talk about some practical tips, because we're talking about storytelling or telling your story. But a lot of times people don't know where to get started. They don't know what they should do that works. So tell me a little bit about, once you started speaking, what were some of the first things that you did that worked for you?
So one of the most important things that I did was I got a coach. I got somebody who was not going to allow me to sit down and scrounge, kind of like shrink. When opportunities arose, I got with somebody who literally was going to kick me in the behind if need be,
right,
in order for me to really say, okay, I'm going to make this happen. So that is one of the most important things that I say for anybody, is that before you start, get a mentor, get a coach. And not just your good girlfriend, not just your homeboy from college. You need somebody that's really going to push you when you're having that Jonah moment. And
wow,
so mostly everybody should know what a Jonah moment is. It's kind of when you have this purpose that you're supposed to be doing, this task, and you're like, you wait right there, I'll be right back. And you kind of find the first thing smoking in the
right,
opposite direction. And so I tell people, find somebody who literally, when you're having that Jonah moment, will take your bags, open them up, and shake all your stuff on the ground and say, where are you going now? You want
wow,
somebody who's not going to put you in the car and drive you to the boat, but somebody who's going to put you in the car and drive you to a place of inspiration and say, you're not going to move from this spot until you write. You're not going to move from this spot until you scream or yell or do whatever you need to do for you to get focused and back on track.
wow, wow, wow. So a lot of times, especially if you're on social media, people, they see you speaking, they see you in these rooms with people, women screaming, yay, Altovise, and doing all of this stuff, right? But they don't see the back end of all of that. They don't see the failures. They don't see the breakdowns and the stuff that didn't work. So tell us, give us the real. Take us from outside of the picture in front of the yacht, the picture in front of the Bentley, the picture in front of the Rolls Royce and the private jet. Take us behind the scenes and share with us maybe one or two things that you did that just didn't work for you.
So I can share two. One is going to be quite funny because it's funny to me. And the other one is going to be a little more practical. But I tell people all the time, you think you have to be perfect. You think you have to look perfect. You think you have to sound perfect, that there's this level of what the perfect speaker sounds like. And
Right.
That's not necessarily it. It's just, you have to be you. And so for my first time doing a live interview, I was so excited. I went and bought this new dress. I'm excited. I got a color because someone had told me a specific color to wear because it makes you more inviting to talk to people. I'm like, yes, I love it. I'm ready to go. I'm excited. The day of the event, put on the dress and the zipper breaks.
Ooh.
So I cannot take this dress off. And I can't zip it up.
Wow.
And so what do? Do you call and say, hey, I'm not going to be able to make it because my dress won't zipper? Do you call and say, hey, I'm going to be late because my dress won't zipper? No. I put on a dress jacket, a white one to go over it because the zipper was on the side. It covered it. Mind you, it was hot outside, so I was sweating up a storm. But guess what? I still did that interview and I knocked it out of the park. No one knew that I had a malfunction with my dress.
Wow.
And that if anybody had asked me to take the jacket off so I don't pass out, I would have had to fight them because I could not take the jacket off.
Wow.
But a lot of times we're so interested in planning things for the event to make it so perfect that we don't take action and just get it done.
Yeah.
And then we miss out on opportunities. And so I could have missed out on an opportunity to speak to a room of maybe about 15 women and empower them and show them that they could do great things. Or I stay home with a broke zipper and cry about it later. No, we're not crying about it later. We need to go ahead, throw on the jacket, and run out the door.
Communication, motivation, leadership, and more. You're listening to the RK3 Show.
So that's the funny one, because that took me to a whole nother level. And then the more practical one that people always say is that, is to stay in your lane. Oftentimes we look at the Les Brown, we look at the Gary Vaynerchuk, we look at the Tony Robbins, and we see their success. We see Lisa Nichols. We see their success, and almost subconsciously we start trying to mimic the exact same thing that they did.
Right.
And there are some things that we can do and some things that we can't. Yes, success leaves clues, but we have to be able to do the journey on our own terms. And so I tell people, you can't be going from lane to lane to lane. That's called an accident on a highway. You got to stay in your lane. And at some point, you can signal to go into the next lane. That can happen. It happens all the time. But you have to figure out, what is your lane? What's your niche? Who's your target? What are you teaching them? What can they learn from you? When they walk away from you, what is going to be the experience that they have? Awesome. And so we can't be zigzagging in order to get to that end result. We have to be able to go in a straight line.
So as a speaker, one of the things that you do is you speak at colleges and universities. And I believe I may have seen you online throwing out a challenge to people to get booked at colleges and universities. Tell me a little bit about that.
So that has been, it was funny. It started off as, with me going back to college years ago, I decided that I was going to do a commencement speech. Now, we all know commencement speakers are usually somebody famous and things like that. But in my mind, I had already put together the speech that I wanted to say. I nailed it, and I said, I am going to do a commencement speech. Well, I didn't finish in the area that I wanted to do. I decided to do something different. And then when I went back and started looking at people who were doing commencement speeches and speeches at colleges, I said, I still can do that speech. I still can do that speech, and it doesn't necessarily have to be for a commencement speech, but it could be for the incoming students. It could be for faculty and staff. There's so many other ways that we can do it. And so I have a network of speakers and authors that are on my page, and I put it out there. Hey, let's do this challenge together. Let's reach out to colleges and universities. Let's step out of our comfort zone, and let's get some paid speaking gigs when it comes to colleges and universities. Because what people don't realize is that, that is a part of what colleges have in their budget, is to pay for speakers to come for events.
Right.
So we are thinking it's only the commencement speakers who, by the way, can get paid $35,000, $50,000, things like that for one speech. But we think, oh, no, that's only for famous people. No. Right. When you determine and realize what your voice is and who can help, then guess what? That could be you as well. And even if you may not get a $35,000 opportunity, but even a $5,000 opportunity for you to do one speech for an hour, 30 minutes.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit more, dive a little bit deeper with us on the colleges and universities. Who are the people that they should contact? Who should they reach out to say, hey, I'd like to have the opportunity to speak at the college in a class or at an event, whatever it may be?
So this is the fun part. Each college is going to be different. There are some where you can go to HR. There are some where they already have a process and you just have to go fill out the form or fill it out online. But the most important step is you have to do the research. I tell people, in order for you to stop wasting time, energy, and money, you really need to get specific about who it is you're talking to, why you're talking to them. Are they the ones that can hire you and say yes or no? And your follow-up. is going to be important as well. So yeah, you don't want to call a school and go through the channels of speaking to 15 different people, because let's be honest, we all think that colleges should be like top notch when it comes to customer service, but it doesn't work that way. They have a lot going on. You have students coming in and out. You have classes being changed, issues with financial aid and issues with this. And you have a lot going on a college campus. Even a small community college has a lot going on. If you've ever sat in their office,
right,
it's a whirlwind. And so in order for you to fall and not have to fall into, the platform of, you send an email and then you never get a response, find exactly who you need to talk to. Maybe you can call and say, okay, who handles this? And then that also goes to be a part of your email that you would send out. But don't get discouraged simply because you think that you're not at a certain level in order to reach out to colleges and universities. You have what it takes. You just got to ask. ASK.
I love it. So now a lot of people that have been on the show, we've had people that are speakers bureau owners or operators. We've had people that have been speaking 25, 30 years. Tell us a little bit about how long you've been speaking and what you've thought about the journey so far.
So I've been speaking for at least 10 years.
Okay.
Not professionally speaking, but I've been speaking to youth. I've been speaking with church events. I've done it. That's another little side thing that I'm going to slide in here is right. A lot of times you have undervalued yourself because you haven't taken into account your experience. And you're thinking that the only way that I can say that I'm a speaker is if I've been paid for speaking events.
Right.
But was doing it for quite some time, doing it as a paid speaker within the last 2 years.
Okay. Awesome.
Within the last 2 years.
Okay.
So it's been amazing. And it's funny because I've had people come to me and go, the things that I've learned from you, I didn't even learn that in a public speaking course on a college campus.
Right.
Where are you getting all this from? I said, well, I didn't just get here. It's just you guys just found me. I didn't just get here, though.
Right. I wanted you to share that because there are people that think they see somebody on a radio or a podcast show and they see people on TV. They see them on Facebook Live. They see them social media somewhere. And in their mind, they automatically assume, oh, my gosh, I can't get there. That's too far away. Those people have been doing it for eons, and I don't even know where to turn yet. So I wanted people to know that, listen, you just get out there and you get started and you do it. You take one tip, you take one opportunity, one piece of instruction, and you work it. You work it until you find what works for you and your niche, as you said, and the place that you can really bless people and allow them to find their own opportunities through your words. All exactly. Right.
And you said an amazing point right there. You said you take that one tip and you work it.
Yeah.
Don't overload yourself.
Right.
Do not overload yourself.
So let's end up here. Let's tell me two last things. If you had to give a beginning speaker one tip, one takeaway, one thing that you want them to use to really move their business forward, what would that be?
So I would say one tip is be a unicorn. And so people they connect me with being a unicorn. I love unicorns, but a unicorn is this mystical thing that you don't believe it's real. You haven't seen it before. It stands out for so many different reasons. When it comes to your speaking career, because that's what it is a career, that's what you should be. You should be that unicorn. You should be that one standing out from the pack, not, saying the same words you hear everybody else say, not standing, doing the same things you hear everybody else say. Do. And a lot of times, like I said, we think that there's this level of things we have to achieve, or we got to stand a certain way. We can't move, freeze frame, listen, mannequin challenge. You can't move. No, do what works best for you.
Yeah.
And run with it.
Yes. If you have a pulse, then that was a blessing to you. I know it was. Are you inspired? Are you inspired to live your truth and tell your story? It's time. I'm so serious. It's time. Tell that story. Let me know if I can help. Hey, fam, we need you to support the show, so look us up on Patreon so we can keep this thing going. Thank you for listening. Remember to check the show notes for any resources we mention. Then tell somebody about the show. We're on Apple Podcast, used to be iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Play, and Pandora. Yep, we're there too. If you have an idea for the show or questions, guess what? Drop me a line at podcast@robertkennedy3.com. Don't forget, as we've been saying, everything that happens to you in life is your stuff. Your stuff is your story. And your story deserves a stage. Hey, I'm Robert Kennedy III, RK3, and you've been listening to
The